Welcome back to a new mic'd up video. So this is the end of the training week, so I'm not doing anything that's too crazy. I'm going to do the snatch pulls that I had originally programmed yesterday that I kind of ran out of time to do, so I'm going to do those today. But I figured since I'm going to be doing some snatch pulls, I might as well do some muscle snatches to warm up for them, and because I just want to do some muscle snatches. We're going to do that along with this some arm accessories and just kind of get a little bit of work in. The bar is very cold, but I also don't really need to warm up too aggressively or too long or too in depth for muscle snatches, because it's muscle snatches. But I don't have a specific number that I want to hit in the muscle snatch today. My snatch pulls are 125 kilos, and I think I'm actually just going to use straps for these muscle snatches, because tomorrow I have snatch doubles, and I'm most likely not going to use straps for them, and I may have them be clusters, but I want to make sure that my hands are not raw at all. I do have one little callus on my ring finger. I have probably mentioned it before, but it's like one random callus that likes to get extra affected. Thankfully it doesn't hurt or anything, but it's just like a pre-blister stage constantly, and it's just on one part of my hand, which is odd. I don't know why it's on just that one part of that one blister, but I think I've done a good job of kind of shaving it down, so it's not too bad. But we're going to go ahead and do this 40 here. I have not really warmed up at all. The warm up I did today was putting my shoes on and my knee wraps on. That's literally all I've done, so we don't need to do much. My back feels a lot better. It's loosening up a lot when I just stretch and stuff, so I know it's not a very serious spasm like it was the last time. The bar feels really cold. But we're going to do no contact still, just with straps, just so I don't have to worry about my hands getting messed up with the coldness of the bar. And it's not really the cold of the bar, but because of the bar being cold, then skin, at least I feel like my skin will be more sensitive to just wear and tear. And I don't really need that because I don't need any sort of training today. But we'll go ahead and do this. Do a press. Nothing too bad. Doesn't feel good, but I mean, wasn't expecting it to feel good, especially because that's the first one. But we'll go up to 60. If 60 feels all right, we'll either do 70 or 80. I'm kind of leaning towards just doing 80, just because I don't really care what I hit today, and I'm pretty confident at doing 80 kilos in the muscle snatch whenever I want to do it. So, almost came back at me. Really happy with this week of training, especially with my back spasm, being able to get that cleared up and train normally. One thing I'm kind of noticing with the technical focus of the program is that the squat volume isn't terribly high, which honestly I kind of like. I feel like my squats have gotten better and stronger, so I may not need the default amount of volume that would be there in like a competition cycle. So I might, assuming everything goes well with the rest of this block of training, I might just do another block with the technique focus. So there's no reason to change something if things are working, but I'm not sure how I'll necessarily assess if it's working or not. I suppose if by the end I'm able to put together like between 125 and 130 in the snatch and between 155 and 160 in the clean and jerk, maybe I'll put that as a hard number. I'll do another block exactly like this if I hit 130, 160. But not doing that today. We're just going to do 80 and then move on to doing pulls. I don't feel that fast or anything, but you don't really need to for muscle snatches. I haven't done a muscle snatch in quite a while. I don't know. I'd have to look back at videos to see, but I haven't done them since the beginning of this block of training. I really like doing them, but I tend to get obsessed doing them a lot and then just go too heavy. And it's just extra volume that I don't need, especially because it's like mostly just a pull. But this will be the last one, then we'll hit our snatch pulls. I think it's just 3 doubles at 125. So once I do this one, I'm just going to jump right to, probably just go right to 105, just to do an extra warm-up, and then go to 125. Because I really could just go to 125. Guess we'll see how this feels. But I'll try to do a good rep here. It's decently cold outside. It's like 35, but on a Sunday training like this, where I don't need to do anything really, it's perfectly fine. Unless I can't get my strap on. But it would definitely be too cold, or at least be quite difficult to do normal training. Definitely gonna stop there. I don't even really want to go up, but 80 felt fine. I think 90 would have turned into like a really major press, and I'm not worried about trying to work hard in that movement today. But onto the snatch pulls. Part of me also wanted to do these from a deficit, but I'm just going to keep them from the floor like normal. I'm also I like the 125 number. It's a good number to do today. So that's what I'm trying to do in the snatch now. Getting relatively close to it several times this week. We'll do this 125, and we'll actually swap out the straps for the Gabrielson Crane ones, because they work fine for pulling. And they're a bit longer, so I don't have to worry about my sleeves as much, which is nice. We'll see how the football games are going. Apparently the Giants are better than the Eagles, which is hilarious. I don't really understand that game, but the Eagles the Eagles look quite bad. I wonder if they'll play better in the playoffs. Not by the way that they're looking right now. All right, we'll do a quick single here. And then jump up to 125. All right. And just because it's 3 doubles, I don't need to rest too much. And just because it's a pull of any sort, I won't need to rest too much. Good to load this bad boy on. Oh. Uh-oh. Looks like Cowboys are going to win. Not surprising. The Washington team sucks. Wonder where Belichick will go next year, if he'll end up staying for the Patriots. I feel like at this point, it's good. It'd be good if he left. Not for any other reason other than the fact that he's older now. He should be kind of in a win now mood, and the Patriots are not in a win now type of place. They're in a total rebuild, and a lot of that is Belichick's fault, because he's not historically he's been a good GM because they've won 7 or however many Super Bowls they've won, but the last couple of years he hasn't been, and the team is just going to be bad. So what I think the Patriots need to do is get a new coach, let the coaches suck for the next year, let the team suck, then get another round of good draft picks, and then just start building back up. Because I think Belichick's like 71 or something. So, I mean, he could coach, I mean, forever, as long as he wants to coach. But I think if he's going to step down or move somewhere else, I think now would be a good time to do it. Also think he should consider going to the Chargers. I'm sure the Chargers would love to have him. I'm sure any NFL team that wants to win now would love to have him. But going to Washington, that'd be stupid. Going to who would want to go to the Panthers? The Panthers are going to get some crappy coach because they have the worst owner in the league. Nobody's going to want to go be a coach there. At least anyone that wants to actually be successful as a coach. They'll, of course, get someone that will be a head coach, but there always will be someone that will accept any situation. It just won't be the highest caliber of potential talent. But Belichick, going to the Chargers, that would be kind of good for them, obviously. And it would kind of give him a team where he could just immediately go and try to win. Which is a best situation, I think, for him. Because the Patriots are not winning anything next year. So just 125. My hat's falling down. Move this over. It's very annoying on the first rep. It's like covering my eyes a little bit. Well, actually, let me put the mic thing right there so it's not on my hat. I don't think that's pulling my hat down, but it's certainly not helping keeping it up there. Not too bad. My IT band's a little sore, but it's kind of what happens when you're not really that warmed up. Doesn't feel too bad, but go ahead and mark these exercises down really quick. I'm going to do my preview video later tonight of the next week of training. It's very similar to this week, at least when I've glanced at it. A lot of very similar days, so hopefully a lot of similar lifting or even better. So I still think I counted 8 weeks or whatever. The program ends January 21st. I forget which day it starts, but 21st of January this month is when the final date of it. Then I'll reassess what kind of program I want to do. So I bought the full year of the AI, so I'm definitely going to continue it. And there's no reason not to. I'm happy with it. I'm getting stronger. I feel like I'm moving a bit better. So I might as well continue to do it. I just will, of course, want to change the focus. Well, I said of course, but at least consider changing the focus. And also kind of around that time, we'll start looking in the spring to see another local meet. If I can do one, maybe around April. April or potentially in May. But I most likely would look towards April. All right. Second double. See the Patriots. The hat just really wants to slide down. Or see the Patriots, I mean the Packers. Looks like they're up 17-9. Interesting. Packers game, to me, is the most interesting one that's on right now. I think it's the most potentially impactful for the playoff picture, but it doesn't matter. Nothing really mattered for the Browns today. They already clinched the spot that they're going to have regardless of whatever happened. I was just kind of hoping they would win just because it'd be funny. They weren't playing any of their starters, but they certainly played like they didn't have any starters on the field. Uh-oh. Somebody jumped. I think next year the Cardinals will potentially be the most interesting team. So I think they have a good head coach. And I don't think Kyler Murray's that bad. He'll have a lot of good picks, a lot of high picks again this year. He'll have a full season, obviously, with Kyler. So, I don't know. It'll be interesting. It will certainly be interesting. I'm really tired from these sets. We're like winded. I'm more just don't really want to do it, but it's only one more. I'm kind of taking more time than I otherwise would normally need to want to talk a little bit, but also make sure they're of a higher quality. All right. I'm kind of glad I put these off till today. I would have had to really rush to them yesterday. I'm sure they would have felt fine, but it's kind of nice to have a Sunday reserve for, say, necessarily extra work, but work I needed to do yesterday. Make that session a little shorter, and then give me something easier to do today, because these obviously won't really impact me tomorrow. Ideally, 3 doubles and snatch pulls shouldn't. All right, last double. All right. All the pulling I got today, all the weightlifting specific work I have, and now I'm going to push the bar up, put the crash pad down, and do some med ball throws. I definitely think so. I actually took some caffeine prior to coming out here, but it's in one of those electrolyte things from the Raiders scored. It's like an electrolyte flavoring thing that supposedly has 110 milligrams of caffeine in it, and I'm very, very skeptical that it actually does. Because even now I don't feel anything really. I don't feel any different after drinking that than the prior. We're actually going to do some lat raises and stuff while we continue to see if the Packers can end up winning their game. Shoulders have been feeling really good, along with doing a lot of extra stretching for like my IT band area and my back, doing some shoulder stretching as well. And I think that just has added to the momentum of a lot of the accessory work that I've been doing and allowing it to just get stronger in general, which is good. I don't have an exact plan. I'm just going to use these 2.5s until I feel a burn and just alternate between those externals rotators and these lat raises and do it until I feel a good burn and see if the Packers can stop the Bears. Looks like they just sacked Justin Fields, which the Bears should definitely keep Fields next year. I think it's certainly asinine for them. It would be asinine for them to get rid of Fields to draft a quarterback. Fields hasn't demonstrated that he's bad enough to not be an NFL quarterback. And what will be better for them is to get more weapons for next year. Once you have more weapons, you have a full season with them again, but you have a full season with more weapons than just DJ Moore. And so then you can assess whether he's truly the problem or if it was the fact that you didn't have enough good weapons on your team. And if he sucks and the team sucks, then you have another good draft pick and you just pick one next year. And then you have all of the good pieces to build upon. I think it's almost, when you're drafting a quarterback really high, unless there's a reason your team needs one, for instance, if like you had a catastrophic injury on your team and so you lost all your games, so you can draft one, or if like your quarterback retired or something, like a quarterback's not going to fix your team. Certainly will help, but it's not like the Bears are one quarterback away from dominating in their division and in their conference. They need a lot of help. And when you have someone like Marvin Harrison Jr. or some offensive lineman that they can get, you just have to build around a quarterback and then see if he's successful. kind of similar to what the Eagles had done with Jalen Hurts, even though they're getting blown out today, so he's not the best example. But with the Eagles, they picked him in the second round. He wasn't really started right, or he didn't play right away, and they just kept getting pieces around him, and then suddenly it's like he's a phenomenal quarterback because the team is good around him. Look at Bryce Young in Carolina. He has no one around him, and he looks terrible, looks like a bust. But, well, he might end up being a bust because of how stymied his development will be because of how bad the Panthers are. But Justin Fields is in a similar boat. It's not like when the Bears took him, he was in, the perfect situation where they just needed a quarterback. It was a pretty bad situation for anyone to be successful. And you don't really need, or most teams aren't able to get like the Texans are probably one of the few exceptions where they drafted a quarterback high and then they figured out how to be successful right away. Most teams that are drafted a quarterback high are not going to be successful in their first season. And I would argue that the Texans got pretty lucky this year that the Jaguars sucked. Otherwise, they would have had a lot more issues. Same with the Colts. The Colts are in a similar boat to where they've demonstrated that they have a good team and a good coach. They just need to get their rookie quarterback to be healthy, and then they'll be good to go. But I think this will be the only shoulder accessory that I do. I don't really want to do the med ball throws. These feel pretty good. Looks like the Cardinals just scored. Because I think the Saints can still make it in if the Seahawks and the Packers lose, which will be quite funny if that happens to get the Saints in. But I forget what I was saying. I suppose I can talk about the Browns now and their next year. So I've heard murmurings, or at least just like sport talk people talking about the potential of the Browns keeping Joe Flacco, or at least like pontificating about what the Browns should do at quarterback next year. And really, there's not really a discussion. It's going to be Watson, whether Flacco wins a Super Bowl or not, because you can't depend on a 39-year-old, and we're paying Watson too much money. Watson's in a situation right now where he is simultaneously the best, could have the best, or has the worst contract of all time. If the Browns don't win a Super Bowl with his contract with him, then worst contract of all time. I would say the exception being this year. If they win a Super Bowl this year, then it kind of makes his contract a wash. You win a Super Bowl, it kind of forgives any sins. Like if you look at the Rams, like they went all in, won a Super Bowl, and then didn't have really any draft picks until I think this offseason. With the Browns, even if they get blown out in the first round of the playoffs, which would be kind of weird because they're going against the Texans, I'm pretty sure. Even if they don't, have a deep run or whatever, it's successful with the fact that we've had every injury possible this year. But if Watson comes back next year, plays well or whatever, we make the playoffs, which wouldn't be that unexpected. We should be a really good team. We could even win the AFC North. But if they come back, or if he comes back, and we don't win a Super Bowl this year, or next year, or the year after, I don't know if he has another year after that, but if he goes his 5-year contract, doesn't win a Super Bowl, it is the worst contract of all time. He was guaranteed the most money, and doesn't win a Super Bowl. For the Browns, now we can kind of assume we're going to make the playoffs, which is kind of a neat thing. I've never experienced that kind of feeling. And to not only expect to make the playoffs, but to expect to have a deep playoff run. It's hard to really expect a Super Bowl, and it's not realistic with any quarterback contract that you give. But with the amount of money that you guaranteed and the absurdity of it, if you don't win a Super Bowl with that contract, it becomes the worst contract of all time. All the other big quarterback contracts, they've either won a Super Bowl with like Patrick Mahomes, or they're performance-based, like Lamar Jackson's, like it's less than what Deshaun got. Deshaun ruined the market for quarterbacks for NFL teams, but he also got more money than he should. He wasn't worth it. He isn't worth it. I would say only if the Browns win a Super Bowl. If they win a Super Bowl, any of his years that he plays, then there's no amount of money that's not worth giving to a person for that, with the way that the current NFL is, especially for Cleveland. It would make the team so much money. So I think that fact is, because I don't like the fact they're like, oh, it's the worst contract of all time. Like, you don't know that now. If you never won the Super Bowl, I would 100% agree. Based on how Cleveland has been my whole life, my guess is they're not winning a Super Bowl with Deshaun Watson. They're not winning one this year or any of the years that he's under contract with the team. Even if we have a really good team and make the playoffs, because it's Cleveland and Cleveland's cursed. But we somehow do win one. Like, we win one this year with Joe Flacco. I don't care about the rest of the year with Deshaun Watson. I'd be happy to have won a Super Bowl in my current lifetime. Because the way that the Browns were trajectory was never winning a Super Bowl in my entire life, which wouldn't be that unrealistic based on how their career was. I think that's about good for my shoulders. But now they have all the momentum in the world. I don't think it's very likely that we'll get through the AFC North. I think we have a decent chance of winning in the first round. Then I don't know who we would play in the second one. But really, the way that the Browns are playing, they could beat any team. I guess if you look at this week, they obviously wouldn't with their backups, but we're on, our fifth quarterback this year. So it wouldn't be surprising if they had a deep playoff run. And there's been weirder stuff that's happened in the NFL. If we do make the Super Bowl, I think we do actually have a pretty good shot, unless it's the 49ers in full strength. Even though we beat them this year, it was in crappy conditions with injuries on their side, but we also had injuries on our side. So I think that, honestly, Cleveland's just playing with house money at this point. I don't really care if they lose in any part of the playoffs, because with how many injuries we should have been like the Jets this year and just been out of the playoffs entirely. So this shows that Stefanski should be the coach of the year. I don't think that's really a debatable thing, and that's not even me being a homer for Cleveland. I think just objectively, with how many injuries they've had, it's hard to say anyone else is more deserving, with the fact that they have 11 wins and they've had 5 quarterbacks. And that's only one position. It's not like quarterback's the only issue or the only position that we've been dealing with injuries from. Like Nick Chubb and everyone else. But looks like the Raiders are going to be the Broncos in a game that has no meaning to anything that's going on. But hopefully we'll see the Packers winning. I know I kind of got derailed there and talked a lot about football, but I suppose that's what you get with Mic'd Up videos. You'll just get my ramblings about whatever I feel like talking about. But that's going to be the end of this workout. Got some muscle snatches in, got my pulls in, did some shoulders. I'm going to go in and just relax. I'm going to probably do some cardio and watch if there's a Sunday night game. But I haven't been good about doing the cardio this past week, and hopefully I get back into the habit. I don't think I'm going to be good enough about doing it every single day, but I would like to do some lighter, steady state cardio, I don't know, every other day if I'm able to. But we'll see how well I'm able to stick with that. But anywho, next week of training will be a pretty heavy week, just like this week, or it'd be pretty similar in a lot of ways. So hopefully I can continue to train well, get my IT band to feel good. But yeah, that's going to be it for this one. So I'll talk to you in the next video. I hope you have a great day. Peace.